Have you ever wondered if the United States government accidentally found an island that was never supposed to exist? Not an island hidden on secret military maps, not an island erased from history. An island that, according to every satellite, every naval chart, and every scientific survey, should have been nothing but open Atlantic Ocean. Yet one storm changed everything. In October of 2019, a Coast Guard rescue crew responding to an emergency beacon nearly 180 miles east of Cape Hatteras entered a wall of fog so thick that radar, GPS, and radio communications failed within seconds. When the fog finally cleared, the crew reported seeing something impossible: a massive island. An island covered by ancient forests. An island with cliffs rising hundreds of feet above the ocean. An island that had never appeared on any American map. What happened during the next 12 hours was never officially explained. 3 rescue specialists disappeared without leaving a single footprint behind. The emergency beacon kept transmitting even after everyone who activated it had vanished. And, according to one anonymous investigator, the island was never discovered. It simply decided to appear. Every year, thousands of mysterious stories circulate across America, but few capture the imagination like tales of places that seem to exist outside normal reality. While the story you are about to hear is a fictional narrative inspired by maritime legends, unexplained disappearances, and real Atlantic navigation history, it raises a question that has fascinated explorers for centuries. What if there are places that human beings were never meant to find? The rescue operation began like any other. At exactly 4:17 in the morning, the United States Coast Guard station received an automated distress signal from a civilian emergency locator beacon somewhere far beyond the normal shipping lanes of the Atlantic. The coordinates seemed wrong. The beacon appeared to be floating in an area where no registered vessel had filed a travel plan. There were no commercial fishing boats nearby, no cargo ships, no private yachts, nothing. Still, emergency protocol required an immediate response. Rescue helicopter Charlie 7 attempted to reach the coordinates first. Halfway there, the crew reported sudden magnetic interference. Their navigation systems began rotating wildly. The digital compass spun in complete circles. Then the aircraft encountered weather conditions that meteorologists later claimed should not have existed. A perfectly circular wall of dense white fog nearly 20 miles across. The captain-commander decided it was too dangerous to continue. Instead, the nearby Coast Guard cutter Hamilton changed course toward the distress signal. Nobody aboard expected history to change before sunrise. The sea became strangely quiet as they approached. Veteran sailors noticed something disturbing. The waves no longer matched the direction of the wind. Instead of crashing naturally against the hull, they moved in slow, overlapping circles, as if invisible currents were pulling the entire ocean toward one central point. Even stranger, the distress beacon continued transmitting with perfect signal strength despite the surrounding electromagnetic interference. At 6:42 a.m., the Hamilton crossed into the fog. Everything disappeared. The sunrise vanished. The horizon vanished. Even the sound of the engines became strangely muffled. Crew members later described the silence as feeling heavy rather than peaceful. Several sailors claimed they could hear distant voices. Others insisted they heard children laughing somewhere beyond the fog. No recordings ever captured those sounds. Only human ears seemed capable of hearing them. After nearly 11 minutes inside the white darkness, sunlight suddenly returned, but the Atlantic Ocean had changed. Standing before them was an enormous island unlike anything recorded in American geological surveys. Towering black cliffs surrounded its coastline. Massive pine forests stretched beyond the cliffs. Ancient stone formations covered the shoreline, arranged in perfect circles too symmetrical to be natural. No smoke, no buildings, no signs of modern civilization. Yet, someone or something had activated the emergency beacon. Captain Michael Rowan immediately ordered aerial photography. The onboard drone climbed 500 feet into the sky. Its live video feed shocked everyone watching. The island extended for nearly 15 miles. Freshwater rivers flowed through valleys hidden beneath thick forests. Large stone structures appeared deep inland. They resembled abandoned towers worn smooth by centuries of storms. No archaeological database contained anything remotely similar. Then, something impossible happened. The drone camera captured dozens of human figures standing perfectly still along the beach. They appeared to be watching the ship. None of them moved. The camera zoomed closer. Every figure wore identical gray clothing. Every face looked pale. Every person stood with their hands folded behind their backs. Captain Rowan ordered the drone even closer. Before it reached the shoreline, every figure disappeared at exactly the same moment. Not by running, not by hiding. One frame they existed, the next frame, the beach was completely empty. Technicians replayed the footage repeatedly. No explanation emerged. The rescue team assumed they had found survivors from some unknown vessel. 3 rescue specialists volunteered to investigate. Senior Rescue Officer Daniel Brooks, Marine Medic Sarah Collins, Navigation Expert Ethan Morales. Each wore helmet cameras. Each carried satellite communication equipment. Each expected to return within an hour. As their inflatable rescue boat approached the beach, radio communication became increasingly distorted. Simple words arrived seconds late. Voices echoed unnaturally. Sarah reported that her compass had stopped working. Daniel laughed nervously, suggesting it was probably magnetic rock beneath the island. Nobody laughed long. The moment the boat touched soil, every electronic device shut down. Helmet cameras froze, GPS units died, satellite phones lost power despite fully charged batteries. Only old-fashioned mechanical watches continued ticking. Captain Rowan ordered the team to return immediately. No answer came back. Instead, the inflatable rescue boat slowly drifted away from the beach by itself, even though nobody had untied it. Daniel chased after it, but suddenly stopped. He stared into the forest. His breathing became rapid. Then his final radio transmission reached the ship. "I don't think we're the first Americans here." The signal ended with a burst of static. Seconds later, 3 separate footprints appeared in the wet sand, but nobody was standing there. The crew aboard the Hamilton watched in absolute silence as the invisible footprints continued walking away from the shoreline and disappeared into the ancient forest. Daniel, Sarah, and Ethan were never seen again.
The silence aboard the Hamilton lasted for nearly 5 minutes. No one spoke, no one moved. Every pair of eyes remained fixed on the shoreline, where 3 trained rescue specialists had seemingly vanished without a trace. Captain Rowan refused to abandon them. Against the advice of several senior officers, he assembled a second search team. This time, they would not land immediately. Instead, they launched 2 high-altitude surveillance drones while using powerful telescopic cameras to scan every inch of the beach. Nothing. The island looked completely empty. The mysterious footprints had disappeared. Even the rescue boat that had drifted away moments earlier was gone. It was as if the entire shoreline had erased every sign that human beings had ever been there. Then one of the drone operators noticed something unusual. The stone circles near the beach were not random rock formations. Viewed from above, they formed a perfect geometric pattern stretching deep into the forest. Navigation expert Lisa Carter overlaid the pattern onto old maritime charts stored in the ship's archives. Her face turned pale. The pattern matched a hand-drawn symbol found inside the journal of an American naval survey conducted in 1867. Most people aboard had never heard of Expedition 14. According to the journal, a small survey ship named USS Meridian disappeared somewhere off the Atlantic coast while mapping underwater volcanic activity. Official history claimed the ship was lost during a hurricane, but one surviving page told a different story. It described an island that appeared only after the sea became silent. It warned future sailors with one haunting sentence: "If you find the island, leave before sunset, because after darkness falls, the island begins to remember." Captain Rowan dismissed the journal as superstition, yet something else demanded his attention. One of the drones suddenly transmitted a clear image from nearly 2 miles inland. There, standing in the middle of an abandoned stone plaza, were Daniel, Sarah, and Ethan. All three appeared perfectly healthy. They stood shoulder to shoulder without moving. Captain Rowan immediately used the drone's loudspeaker. "Daniel, can you hear me? Return to the beach immediately." No response. The drone descended lower. Daniel slowly lifted his head. For several long seconds, he stared directly into the camera. Then he smiled. Not a relieved smile, not the smile of someone rescued. It was cold, expressionless, almost unnatural. Sarah and Ethan smiled the same way. Without warning, all three turned toward the forest and walked behind a massive stone archway. The drone followed. The moment it crossed beneath the archway, the video feed exploded into static. Connection lost. The second drone circled above the same location. There was no archway, no plaza, only dense forest, as if the first drone had recorded a place that no longer existed. By late afternoon, the weather began changing. Dark clouds surrounded the island in a perfect circle, while the ocean beyond remained calm and blue. Lightning flashed silently across the sky. No thunder followed. Marine biologist Dr. Rebecca Hayes made another disturbing discovery. The water surrounding the island contained microscopic organisms unlike anything cataloged by NOAA. Some appeared to glow beneath ultraviolet light. Others seemed to change shape every few seconds. But the strangest finding came from a simple seawater sample. Every clock inside the laboratory disagreed about when the sample had been collected. One digital timestamp showed 2:41 p.m. Another showed 4:09 p.m. A mechanical stopwatch recorded only 19 minutes. Time itself seemed unreliable near the island. As sunset approached, voices once again echoed across the water. This time, everyone heard them. Some sailors recognized the voices of family members. One young crewman insisted he could hear his late father calling his name. Another claimed his daughter was crying for help from somewhere inside the forest. Captain Rowan ordered everyone to remain on the ship. "No one leaves this deck." Minutes later, Seaman Tyler Brooks ignored the order. Without speaking to anyone, he lowered a small lifeboat into the water. Several crew members shouted after him. He never looked back.
He rowed silently toward the island as though hypnotized. Halfway there, the sea became perfectly still. Not a single wave touched the boat. Then Tyler simply vanished. There was no splash, no explosion. One moment he existed, the next, the boat continued drifting completely empty. Panic spread through the Hamilton. Captain Rowan finally ordered a full retreat. The engines roared to life, but the ship refused to move. Every engine operated normally, every propeller turned, yet the vessel remained frozen in place. As darkness settled over the island, thousands of tiny lights appeared between the trees. At first, they looked like fireflies. Then binoculars revealed the horrifying truth. They were lanterns, hundreds, then thousands, each carried by silent human figures walking through the forest in perfect lines. None of them spoke. None of them looked toward the ocean. They all marched toward the center of the island, disappearing beneath towering stone ruins hidden among the trees. Suddenly, the emergency beacon began transmitting again. Not a distress signal this time. A voice, weak, broken, barely recognizable. "Please, don't come. It knows you're watching." The voice belonged to Daniel Brooks. Then another sentence came through. "We've been here for 43 years." Captain Rowan stared at the calendar mounted beside the bridge window. Daniel had landed on the island less than 12 hours earlier. Yet, according to his own voice, 43 years had already passed. No one aboard the Hamilton could explain how such a thing was possible. And deep inside the forest, something enormous opened its eyes.
No one aboard the Hamilton slept that night. The bridge remained fully staffed as every officer watched the island through night vision binoculars. The lantern lights continued moving in perfect silence, weaving through the forest like rivers of pale green fire. They never crossed paths. They never stopped. They simply followed invisible routes toward the heart of the island. At exactly 2:13 a.m., the emergency beacon transmitted one final message. This time, the voice was unmistakably Daniel Brooks. "If you're hearing this, leave now. The island doesn't trap your body first, it traps your memory. Once it learns who you are, the ocean forgets you ever existed." The transmission ended forever. At sunrise, something changed. The fog surrounding the island began to dissolve. The engines suddenly regained full power. Captain Rowan had a choice: go back for his missing crew or leave while escape was still possible. For several long seconds, no one spoke. Then Rowan gave the order that haunted him for the rest of his life. "Full speed ahead, we're leaving." The Hamilton slowly pulled away. No one looked back, until one young sailor pointed toward the cliffs. Standing on the highest ridge were Daniel, Sarah, Ethan, and hundreds of other silent figures dressed in faded clothing from different eras. Some wore modern rescue uniforms. Others wore military jackets from World War II. Several appeared to be sailors from the early 20th century. One figure even wore clothing resembling that of an 18th century explorer. Every one of them stood perfectly still. Every one of them watched the Hamilton disappear over the horizon. The moment the island vanished behind the morning fog, every electronic device aboard the ship restarted. GPS returned. Radios cleared. Satellite communication worked perfectly. Within hours, Captain Rowan reported everything to federal authorities. The official response was immediate. A joint investigation involving multiple government agencies was launched. For 3 weeks, search aircraft, satellites, oceanographic vessels, and military reconnaissance scanned every square mile around the reported coordinates. They found nothing. No island, no cliffs, no forest, no unusual seabed. Only open Atlantic Ocean stretching endlessly in every direction. Scientists concluded the crew had experienced a rare combination of magnetic interference, weather distortion, fatigue, and mass psychological stress. The case was officially closed, but Captain Rowan never accepted that explanation. Months later, while reviewing archived radio recordings frame by frame, audio specialists isolated a faint background conversation beneath Daniel's final transmission. At first, it sounded like meaningless static. After digital enhancement, several words became clear. Hundreds of voices were speaking together. Not screaming, not whispering, simply repeating the same sentence over and over. We were looking for it until it found us. The recording remains unexplained. Years passed. The Hamilton crew slowly returned to ordinary life. Some retired early. Others refused to speak publicly about the mission. A few developed recurring nightmares in which they wandered through endless forests, searching for an ocean they could never reach. Captain Rowan spent the next decade studying forgotten maritime records. He discovered dozens of remarkably similar stories dating back more than 300 years. Spanish sailors in the 1700s described an island that arrived with silent seas. A British merchant captain in 1812 wrote of people standing motionless upon black cliffs before disappearing with the sunrise. An American fishing vessel in 1954 reported receiving emergency radio calls from a location where no land existed. Every account shared one disturbing detail. The island never appeared exactly in the same place. It seemed to drift across the Atlantic beyond the reach of maps, satellites, and human expectation. Some researchers proposed that unusual underwater volcanic activity might create temporary landforms. Others suggested optical illusions caused by atmospheric refraction. A few believed powerful magnetic anomalies could influence human perception. But none of those theories explained the disappearing people, or the impossible radio transmissions, or why no physical evidence was ever recovered. Perhaps there is a perfectly rational explanation waiting to be discovered. Or perhaps some mysteries survive because they remind humanity that our understanding of the world is still incomplete. The oceans cover more than 70% of our planet, yet vast regions remain unexplored. History has repeatedly shown that every generation believes it has mapped everything, until something impossible appears. This story is a work of fiction inspired by real maritime mysteries, unexplained disappearances at sea, and centuries of Atlantic folklore. There is no verified evidence that such an island exists, yet the legends continue because they reflect one timeless truth. Human curiosity is both our greatest strength and sometimes our greatest danger. So, if one day you ever find yourself sailing across a calm Atlantic morning and your compass suddenly begins spinning, your radio fills with voices that no one else can explain, and a massive island slowly rises from a wall of white fog where no island should ever exist, remember the final words recorded from the rescue team that never returned. Some places are not hidden from us. We are hidden from them, until they decide it's time to look back. And perhaps the most terrifying mystery is not whether such an island exists,
but whether somewhere beyond the horizon, it is still waiting for the next ship to wander just a little too